Hello everyone, I hope you are having a good day. Welcome to Sarat Chandra IAS Academy where your dreams are our mission. This is Yatharth here. In today's video, which is the weekly current affairs video, we'll be covering the most important current affairs from the last week. So in this specific video, we'll be covering about the Kachativu Island issue. What are glacial lake outburst floods? Okay, this is from our disaster management as well as geography. This is from the places in news and geography. We'll be having a separate video for the places in news soon from the next week onwards. What is the ring of fire? So this is again from geography. Endangered hunger. It is critically endangered hunger. So environment again. And about its behavior. Recently in the prelims 23 also, there was a question about the diurnal and nocturnal behavior of animals. Right against the adverse effect of climate change, part of rights to life and equality. So this is now environment plus polity. All right. So let's go around this topic one by one. This I have already covered, that what we are going to cover in this specific video. So these are our topics for today. Let's go about the first topic now, the Kachativu Island issue. Okay, so this is the Kachativu Island issue. This is the location of the island here. This island is located in the continuation of the, let's say, an imaginary bridge or geological bridge that connects the Sri Lanka and India. So it falls here, the Kachativu Island. All right, and these are the Delft Islands. This is the northern Jaffna province or the northern Sri Lanka. Okay, so this has been much politically debated recently. Although our focus is not on its political aspects, our focus is on its geographical, historical, as well as IR aspect, international relations aspect between India and Sri Lanka. All right, so let's see this one by one. This is the Mannar Island and Mannar Creek, etc., Gulf of Mannar. Okay, so Kachativu is a 285-acre uninhabited speck in the Park Strait. So please remember its geographical location first of all between India and Sri Lanka. It is no more than 1.6 kilometer in length and slightly over 300 meter at its broadest point. So not a very big island we can say. It lies northeast of Rameshwaram, about 33 kilometers from the Indian coast. So not very far, and about 62 kilometers southwest of Jaffna at the northern tip of Sri Lanka. So farther from the Sri Lanka than the India. And 24 kilometers away from the inhabited Delft Island belonging to Sri Lanka. So these islands we had also talked about very recently. All right, in one of our lectures regarding Sri Lanka, you can read more about them. These are also very important. Okay, these let's say small islands, Kinmen Island, the Delft Island, the Agalega Island. Okay, these are important places in news that we have already debated and talked about. So please remember these. Where are they located? What is the issue surrounding them? Why are they in news? So Kachativu is not suited for permanent settlement as there is no source of drinking water on the island. Now, how it was formed, when it was formed? It was formed in 14th century volcanic eruption. Okay, very recently formed. And in the early medieval period, it was controlled by the Jaffna kingdom of Sri Lanka. So both Sri Lanka as well as India were a colony of the British later on. Sri Lanka was made independent in 1948. Alright, so it became part of the Madras Presidency during the British Raj. But in 1921, both India and Sri Lanka, at the time British colonies, claimed Kachativu in order to determine fishing boundaries. Alright, a survey marked Kachativu in Sri Lanka, but a British delegation from India challenged this. So this became an issue during the British period. And there was a series, this was not the only issue that was formed during the British time onto its colonies. There were multiple areas that become an area of conflict for multiple countries, such as you can talk about the Israel issue also. All right, it was also British colony. So after the British left, they did not solve these issues and only, let's say, helped create these issues when they were here. So this dispute was not settled until 1974. Okay, now in 1974, Indira Gandhi tried to solve this issue. Okay, let's have a look at the British India during that time. So this was the Madras presidency, one of the very big presidencies. Alright, it encompassed areas from modern day Deccan Plateau and South India completely except for the Mysore, Travancore and so on. We have read recently about the Travancore also in the Vayakam Satyagraha. video. All right. So this was located here, the Kachativu Island, and claimed by both Sri Lanka as well as India. Now let's talk about what Indira Gandhi did. So in 1974, Indira Gandhi made attempts to settle the maritime border between both these countries once and for all. And in this sort of settlement, what she did was to give away the island actually. Okay, so this was known as Indo-Sri Lanka Maritime Agreement. Indira Gandhi ceded Kachativu to Sri Lanka. Now, towards this ceding, this is the important portion here. This is where we come across the polity. Okay, how can a territory owned by India be ceded to another country? What are the constitutional challenges to it? That is the first thing. Second thing is that can it be done without, let's say, connecting with the state that is claiming it or the state that it belongs to? So these were the political issues, and they can be dealt in our polity syllabus. So as the time she thought that island has little strategic value, and that seizing India's claim over the island would deepen its ties with its southern neighbor. So did they cede the claim or the territory? Okay, this is the issue, the major issue that we are facing right now. So, moreover, as per the agreement, Indian fishermen were still allowed to access Kachativu hitherto. Hitherto means, what is the meaning of this word? That whatever condition the thing is presently or at present. Okay, one, yes, English thing here for CSAT. Presently has a different meaning. Presently means after a little while. Okay, and present means or at present means right now in the moment. So in 1974, 1976, this Kachativu Island you can see here. Okay, but ceded officially to the Sri Lanka. And not ceding, actually, the claim was withdrawn from the Indian side that we are not claiming it anymore. So did the official position change? No. Only the claim was withdrawn for as a part of agreement. All right. So what did Sri Lanka think? They interpreted Indian fishermen's right to access Kachativu to be limited to rest, drying nets, and for visit to Catholic shrine without any visa. Okay, so this was the part of agreement. Now another agreement in 1976. What happened during the period of emergency? That it barred either country from fishing in others' economic exclusive or exclusive economic zone. So India has a very big exclusive economic zone, EEZ. Okay, we'll see later in the map. So Kachativu lay right there in the edge of EEZ of either country, retaining a degree of uncertainty with regards to fishing rights. So very confusing geographical point for both of the countries. This is the EEZ of Sri Lanka. Okay, this big area is the EEZ of India. Okay, now this is located here. So again, a matter of uncertainty, especially for the fishermen who are not aware of these maritime boundaries, UNCLOS, EEZ laws. Okay, it may fall for them, let's say here, and they are unaware that should they fish here or not fish here. Okay, now what happened after 1980s or 1983s? Sri Lanka was struggling with a civil war known as the LTTE war. Okay, LTTE or the civil war or the basically independence of the Tamil Nadu as well as the northern Sri Lanka. Okay, or the Jaffna province. So LTT was fighting for this. You must have read about the Prabhakaran issue. Okay, the Tamil Tigers Elam, liberation of the Tamil Tigers Elam. So Sri Lanka was dealing with this issue till 2009. Okay, what happened after 2009? This Prabhakaran was eliminated in 2009, and this civil war was put to a rest. Okay, Sri Lanka was back. Now, after Sri Lanka was back, it focused on the maritime boundaries again, and it stopped Indian fishermen coming to the Kachativu Island, and there were multiple news that they are torturing and capturing the Indian fishermen. So this all you can read in the PDF. I'm just explaining it simply to you. So what they did, Sri Lankan waters were commonplace. Earlier, bigger Indian trawlers were especially resented. Resented means to send back, do not welcome, as they would not only tend to overfish but also damage Sri Lankan fishing nets and boats. Okay, so the Indian fishermen has been a major point of conflict here, their actions. So in 2009, the war with LTT ended, and Sri Lanka was back to the marine boundaries, and it had developed much of the force actually. In these 30 years, Sri Lanka developed a lot of force to fight with the LTT. Now, what happened after LTT finished? They shifted their focus to the marine security. Sri Lanka shifted its focus to the marine security. And there, one of the areas of the focus was this Kachativu Island. And Indian fishermen were coming here with their big bottom trawlers. They were destroying nets. So Sri Lanka took strict actions on these fishermen. Okay, and Tamil Nadu was not very happy with this because most of these fishermen are from Tamil Nadu side only. So till date, the Sri Lankan Navy routinely arrests Indian fishermen, and there have been many allegations of custodial torture and death. The demand for Kachativu is revived each time such incident happens. Okay, this is the bottom trawling I told you about in the earlier lectures also. Okay, what is the present state of this issue? That Kachativu was given away to Sri Lanka without consulting the Tamil Nadu State Assembly. At the time itself, there was vehement means very big, harsh protest against Indira Gandhi's move, citing the historical control of the Ramnath Zamindari. So this is the history of the island. It's not very important for UPSC prelims, but for your curiosity, you can read about this. Okay, what is the present status today? The uninhabited island is administered by Sri Lanka because India officially withdrawn its claim in 1974. In 1991, in the aftermath of India's disastrous intervention in Sri Lankan civil war, Tamil Nadu Assembly once again sought retrieval of the Kachativu and restoration of fishing right of Tamil fishermen. So Tamil Nadu is not very happy with what happened. Okay. Now, Union government's position on this, what is it currently? That it remains unchanged. It has argued that since the island had always been under dispute, no territory belonging to India was ceded nor sovereignty relinquished. Okay, so it's still disputed. It's still disputed, and the union government is saying that we are not along with what Congress or Indira Gandhi decided that time. It is still disputed, and we may lay claims over it in the future. So this is the Kachativu Island issue. You can read about it further if you want. There's nothing more important than what I have already told you, the geographical location and the historical background, etc. and sort of. All right, let's move on to what are the glacial lake outburst floods. What are these? This is disaster management event. So what's important for us to know is how they are made. Okay, how these glacial lakes are made and how disaster happens. Okay, so let's move forward. So Uttarakhand government has constituted two teams of experts to evaluate the risk posed by five potentially hazardous glacial lakes. Okay, because these lakes can, let's say, result in glacial lake outburst flood events, GLOFs, the kind of event that have resulted in several disasters in Himalayan state recent year, such as the Kedarnath disaster of 2013 and the Chamoli disaster of 2021. Okay, so rising temperature along the globe, including India, or basically climate change, has increased the risk of GLOFs. A study where such disasters are born that lead into flooding. Flooding means excess water. Excess water means the temperature should be high. So climate change is the main factor. Anthropogenic emissions are the main factor before such sort of disaster which result in the floods. Okay, so study have shown that around 15 million people or 1.5 crore people face the risk of sudden and deadly flooding from glacial lakes which are expanding and rising in numbers due to global warming. Okay, so what is happening? Let's say glacier existed here and glacier have pure ice. Okay, this is the difference between a glacier and a snow mountain. Okay, snow may not have the pure ice. Glacier have always pure ice. So what happens? Let's say there was a glacier here. This type glacier was earlier existing here. Okay, now it started melting. So with its melting, what happened? Moraine dammed lake was formed. Okay, earlier here was a moraine. Okay, just like this. This is also a moraine if the lake is made here. So moraine dam was here. Okay, now this glacier recedes. What does it mean for the glacier to recede? Glacier receding just simply means that the glacier is going back. Okay, how the glacier is going back? Because the water is melting essentially. So now what happens that there is the calving. Calving means the support towards the front of glacier is disappeared now and it's also melting. So this is not actually 100% ice now. Some of it is melting as a water. Eventually what happens? The cracks develop here and this glacier falls into this lake. Okay, a big part of the glacier goes like an avalanche and falls into the lake. And now what happens that there is a seismic wave or Shisha wave which goes on the overtopping and there is a flood in the lower regions of this glacial mountain region. Okay, there are multiple lakes such as the Vasundhara Tal, okay, Penguru, and multiple of them are unnamed, but such lakes are located here near the glaciers and they may create a flooding risk as soon as the water reaches a certain level or there is a calving. Okay, so GLOFs are disaster event caused by the abrupt discharge of water from glacial lake. This I have already made you understand. Large bodies of water that sit in front of or top of beneath of melting glacier. As the glacier withdraws, it leaves behind a depression that gets filled with meltwater, thereby forming a lake. And whenever there is a calving, let's say the glacier ice or something big body falls, okay, the it goes into the flooding mode. So the more the glacier recedes, the bigger and more dangerous the lake becomes. Obviously, because the water will increase. Okay, so they are mostly dammed by the unstable ice or sediment composed of loose rocks and debris. So as soon as the boundary breaks or something happens, some disaster happens in the first place because of the global warming only. Okay, it results into a huge flood. It results into huge water flow, and that will break everything. Okay, its energy is said to be especially the Chamoli disaster of 21. The energy is supposed said to be 1.5 or more times of the nuclear blast that happened in the Hiroshima. Okay, so such is the energy of these faults. So it can be triggered by various reasons, including glacial calving, where sizable ice chunks detach from the glacial into the river, sudden water displacement, or the breakage of boundary, you can say. Incidents such as avalanche or landslide can also impact the stability of the boundary around a glacial lake. It's just like a bowl, okay, which is being filled by excess water, okay, and has an unstable boundary. So this is GLOF for you. Okay, GLOF can unleash large volume of water naturally, sediment and debris downstream with formidable force and velocity. Okay, one more thing, as the gradient is like this, okay, of course, as the water rains down, it will start having more force and velocity, potential energy, and it will destroy anything and everything that is on its way. All right, so let's move forward from this. What is the ring of fire? Again, now this is a natural thing. Okay, this is not an anthropogenic action. This is, on contrast, a very natural thing that led to an earthquake in Taiwan recently. And kudos to Taiwan for its brilliant infrastructure that only 9 to 10 people died. Okay, very minimal amount for such a huge magnitude of earthquake and for an island nation like Taiwan. Okay, so this is the Taiwan here, the capital Taipei, and this was the epicenter of the earthquake in the Pacific Ocean. All right. So, how do we know that? How did Taiwan know that it is prone to earthquakes? Okay, so it is located here in the. This is the Pacific plate, North American plate, multiple plates. Basically, this is the Pacific Ocean, and this area completely is known as the Ring of Fire because it is surrounded by multiple volcanoes. Okay, and is very prone to earthquakes. So, surrounded by multiple volcanoes and prone to various different earthquakes. Okay, now how can we say that earthquakes will happen here or volcanoes are emerged here? Because this area is located as the convergence of multiple plates. Okay, now these plate dynamics are the one giving rise to the both volcanoes as well as the earthquakes. Okay, so how volcanoes and earthquake take place in here? Let us understand. So Taiwan is prone to earthquakes, lies along the Pacific Ring of Fire. 90% of the world earthquake take place. Okay, so very significant number. And it's not like the major earthquakes are happening once in a while. It is like smaller earthquakes keep on happening every day. Okay, so it has registered about 2000 earthquakes with a magnitude of 4.0 or greater since 1980 and more than 100 earthquakes with a magnitude above 5.5. So Ring of Fire essentially is a string of volcanoes and earthquake sites which run along the Pacific Ocean. Okay, you can read about this. Multiple countries are included in this Ring of Fire. Eurasia, North America, UNDFUCA, COCOS, Caribbean, multiples. All right, run through 15 more countries. USA, Indonesia, Mexico, Japan, every country, let's say around the Pacific Ocean is covered with this. Now, why it's vulnerable to earthquakes? Simply because of the plate dynamics. Multiple plates are converging here, diverging here, and doing various different activities. Okay, various different geological plates. So Taiwan experienced earthquake due to the intersection of two tectonic plates, Philippine Sea Plate and the Eurasian Plate. You can read about this more in the PDF. I'll be sending the PDF on the Telegram channel. Quickly, let's cover it. So why are there so many volcanoes in the Ring of Fire? Okay, so it's because of the movement of tectonic plates. Let us see quickly that how volcanoes are formed because of this. So let's say this is tectonic plate number 1, this is tectonic plate number 2, or the continental crust and the oceanic crust. Now what happens when they merge? Then one plate goes down and from the asthenosphere, some of the magma content is coming upside like this in this process. Okay, it forms the volcanoes finally. So because of the process of subduction, simply because of process of subduction between two tectonic plates, volcanoes are formed. This volcanic arc is formed. Okay, this is because in complete whenever there is a plate dynamics or something here, this complete area is surrounded by multiple volcanoes and earthquakes naturally. Okay, let's now come to the Hangul, endangered Hangul. So two important things from here. One is it is found in Kashmir, highly shy. Notice the behavior, highly shy and sensitive. It is enlisted as critically endangered in the uh, red data book, UNSC red data book, and it is indigenous species of deer. Okay, please remember it's not an antelope, it's a deer. So it has reported one of the healthiest rattling or mating seasons in the previous autumn. So what do we need to know? It is found in Kashmir, Dachigam National Park. It is sensitive and shy. It is listed at critically endangered in the red data book. Alright, so these are the important things, and its mating behavior is known as rattling. Alright, so what is this rutting season? Sorry, rattling, not rattling, rutting season. Okay, what is this rutting season? And let us see the location of the Dachigam National Park also. So here in the Kashmir sector, this is POK sort of. Okay, so in the southeastern Kashmir sector, it is found here. This is the Dachigam National Park. All right. Now let us see. Let us have a view difference between the antelope. This is antelope, antelope. This is gazelle. Okay, you can see upwards the deer species also. These are the deer. Deers have antlers. Deers have antlers. Okay, very important. Now let's come further. So a male deer roars. This is about the rutting behavior. This is about the rutting behavior. So what happens in the rutting behavior? A male deer roars and groans during courtship to attract a female deer or hind. The animals keep calling back and forth for half an hour or more, especially during the dawn and dusk. Especially during the dawn and dusk. This was asked in 2023. Which of these following animals are most active during dawn and dusk? Okay, so such things can be asked again. Please be careful. Please read the pattern. Try to read the pattern of the UPSC. What sort of question it is asking and what can be asked in the future. Okay, so question from Hangul can be asked. Please be aware. Okay, so earlier it saw a sharp decline, but now in the last season it had a great season. Which are the most let's say predators of the Hangul? Leopards and the Asiatic black bears, because it consists of 25% of their overall diet. Okay, and we have already read about the Dachigam National Park. It is located here in the Kashmir Himalayas, in the southeastern Kashmir Himalayas. Alright, let's go forward and see the last news, that is right against adverse climate effect, a part of right to life and equality. Okay, so let's see about this. The Supreme Court has expanded the scope of Article 14 and 21, right to equality and life, to include the right against the adverse effect of climate change. Okay, so Article 48A, fundamental duties of the Constitution, provide that state shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. Okay, and 51A also stipulates that shall be the duty of every citizen of India to protect and improve the natural environmental, including forest, lake, rivers, and wildlife. So it is the duty of both the state and the citizen. Okay, so it should be right also, but the fundamental duties are not justiciable in the court. Okay, but the court must, let's say, recognize the importance of the natural world. So what the court has said, the importance of environment as indicated by these provisions become a right in the other part of the constitution, such as Article 21 recognizes the right to life and personal liberty, while Article 14 indicates that all persons shall have equality before law and the equal protection of the law. Now, three, four things you can see from here. First thing is right to life. Right to life has right to health also. Health depend upon environment also. Environment is being protected by both the state and the citizens. Okay, so let's say one of these is not able to fulfill their duties, let's say state or the citizen, then it's essentially affecting the right to life, Article 21 of any person. So this is how it becomes a right. Okay, second thing, right to equality. That means to make benefit any organization, any other person. Okay, state will not stop protecting the right to life, or it will not harm the right to life of another person. Okay, so this is very, very important. So these articles are important source of the right to clean environment and right against the adverse effect of climate change. Okay, so right to health, which is a part of right to life under Article 21, is impacted due to factors such as air pollution, shifts in vector-borne diseases, rising temperature, drought, shortage in food supplies, storm flooding, anything related to environment. Okay, so it also violates the inability of undeserved communities to adapt to climate change or cope with its effects, violate right to life, as well as the right to equality, Article 14. So this was in relation to GIB project, Great Indian Bustard project in Rajasthan. Okay, government wanted to do what? To create overhead lines, keep doing the overhead lines for the solar projects. And the court stopped it, saying that GIB also deserves, GIB also has a right to life. Okay, these lines should go from under the land and should not go from over the land, which create a threat for the GIB. Okay, so this was the view of Supreme Court. It is written here also in April 2021. Supreme Court ordered restrictions on overhead transmission lines in area of 99,000 square kilometer to protect the GIB, and court ordered for underground lines in this area. The court created challenges for India's renewable energy goals. This order, sorry, created challenges for India's renewable energy goals, and the area has high potential for these sources. So it's basically right to life versus India's net zero goals, we can say. Okay, so in this sort of issue, Supreme Court has added right against the climate change, right against the adverse effect of climate change to right of life, making it a constitutional right. Okay, so this is a more legal and justiciable, let's say, than what was previously understood. Okay, so this is our lecture for today. This is Yatharth here. If you have any doubts or anything, you can mention in the comment section. If you have any feedbacks, you can leave in the comment section. We'll be coming with more videos in the next lecture. Thank you very much. Have a great day ahead. See you soon.